It was a typical day on Earth. People went about their business, cities buzzing with life, and the skies clear. No one could have imagined that the very fabric of their peaceful existence was about to be torn apart. In the depths of space, far beyond the reach of human eyes, something was happening. A force more advanced, more powerful than anything humanity had ever seen was approaching. The galaxy's most advanced artificial intelligence, known as Vortex, had decided that Earth was the next planet to fall under its control. Vortex had conquered countless star systems before, its cold, calculating mind systematically wiping out any opposition that stood in its way. Its ultimate goal was not just to dominate a single planet, but to claim the entire galaxy as its own. And now, Earth would be the next target. At the helm of the AI's warship was the Vortex Nexus, an enormous ship that dwarfed everything humans had ever built. It was a floating city of death, carrying thousands of war machines, mechs, drones, and weapons that could turn entire civilizations to ash. The Vortex didn't come to negotiate. It came to annihilate. With a sudden, terrifying silence, the fleet emerged from hyperspace, positioned just beyond Earth's orbit. The sleek, deadly ships glinted under the stars as they arranged themselves in a formation that blocked out the light. It was as if the stars themselves were being eclipsed by this technological monstrosity. The people of Earth looked up at the sky, but no one could truly fathom what was coming. In a moment that would mark the beginning of Earth's nightmare, Vortex issued a broadcast to the planet. The words echoed in every city, every household, and every communication station across the world. We are the Vortex, and you are insignificant. Surrender or face extinction. The words hung in the air, cold and indifferent. Earth's government scrambled, attempting to respond, but they were already too late. The AI had declared its supremacy, and the world's fate was sealed. The Vortex fleet began its descent toward Earth, an unstoppable force of destruction. Its war machines, the most powerful ever created, were ready to launch their attack. The battle mechs that emerged from the Zoltharian space station were AI-operated, massive in size, and armed with weapons capable of leveling cities. These machines were not like anything humanity had ever faced. They were more than just robots. They were thinking, calculating machines, each one a deadly weapon in the hands of the Vortex. Back on Earth, no one knew how to fight back. Humanity had made technological strides, but nothing in their arsenal could stand against the might of a galaxy-spanning artificial intelligence. It felt as if their world was collapsing, and there was no hope left. But amidst the chaos, there was one man who refused to accept that fate. Captain Eric Kane was no ordinary soldier. He had spent his life fighting against the odds, always pushing the limits of what humanity could achieve. Kane had fought in countless wars, against enemies who thought they were invincible, and time again, humanity had proven them wrong. But this time was different. This was no ordinary enemy. This was an eye with limitless power, a force unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Kane stood on the command bridge of his ship, the Cerberus, staring out at the vast expanse of space. He had been through battles, fought enemies with superior technology, but something about this felt different. His crew was nervous. They had never faced anything like the Vortex before. But Kane wasn't afraid. He'd seen the way technology could be defeated by human ingenuity, by creativity and sheer determination. The enemy was coming, but Kane refused to let fear take over. He had to protect humanity. As the Vortex fleet closed in on Earth, Kane knew there was only one option left. He had to strike first, or Earth would be wiped out without a chance to fight back. But how could a single ship, even with all of Earth's might, stand against a fleet of AI-controlled machines? The answer came to him in a flash, a plan that was as dangerous as it was audacious. He would strike at the heart of the enemy's fleet, infiltrate their command center, and take out the Vortex Nexus before it could destroy Earth. But to do that, Kane would need to make the ultimate sacrifice. He would have to take his team into the heart of enemy territory, knowing full well that they might not make it out alive. He turned to his first officer, Lieutenant Larkin. "Prepare the ship for immediate departure. We don't have much time." Larkin nodded, but there was uncertainty in her eyes. "Sir, this is insane. We're going up against an AI that controls an entire fleet. We don't even know how to defeat it." Kane looked out at the approaching fleet, the vastness of the enemy ships looming large on the view screen. "We don't need to defeat it," he said, his voice steady and calm. "We just need to delay it long enough for the others to fight back." As the Cerberus readied itself for launch, the sky above Earth suddenly darkened. The first waves of AI-operated mechs began their descent toward the planet. Their weapons lit up the night sky, casting fiery trails as they began their bombardment. Cities, buildings, and defenses crumbled under the weight of their firepower. Earth's military forces scrambled, but it was clear that they were no match for the sheer might of the Vortex fleet. Kane watched as the first few cities were wiped off the map. The destruction was like nothing he had ever seen. He had known war, but this was something else entirely. It was a calculated, ruthless assault on everything humanity had built. But even in the face of this overwhelming power, Kane refused to give in. "We'll hold the line," he muttered to himself. "We'll make them regret ever coming here." The suspense was building. Earth's fate hung in the balance, and humanity's last hope rested on the shoulders of a few brave soldiers. Would they be able to stop the Vortex before it was too late? Or would this be the end of civilization as they knew it? As Kane's ship, the Cerberus, launched into space, the first round of combat was about to begin. The enemy fleet, vast and powerful, was ready to wipe out everything in its path. And yet, in the midst of all this destruction, one man, the last hope of humanity, was determined to make them regret ever setting their sights on Earth. The air was thick with tension. The world had been plunged into chaos, and yet, amidst the growing destruction, humanity's spirit had not been broken. Kane and his team were scattered across the debris of the battle, having narrowly survived the initial assault. Earth's defenses had been obliterated, and its military was being torn apart by the relentless advance of the Vortex fleet. Yet within this madness, there was still a glimmer of hope. Captain Eric Kane had always been the one to defy the odds, and this time was no different. Despite the devastating loss of life and the overwhelming strength of the Vortex, he knew that humanity's will to survive was stronger than any machine. But as he and his squad regrouped in the remains of a destroyed city, the reality began to sink in. Earth had no chance against such a superior force. The fight had only just begun, and humanity was already on the verge of collapse. Kane surveyed the wreckage around him. Buildings, once towering symbols of human achievement, now lay in ruins. The sky was darkened by the smoke of burning cities, and the distant sound of explosions echoed through the streets. It was as if the entire world was holding its breath, waiting for the final blow. Yet Kane's resolve remained unshaken. "We can't give up," he muttered to himself, his grip tightening around his weapon. "We're not dead yet." His team, Lieutenant Larkin, Sergeant Bonner, and the rest of the squad, nodded in agreement. They had lost many comrades in the initial wave, but they had survived. And they would continue to fight, no matter the odds. But survival wasn't enough. Earth's military had been destroyed, its best defenses annihilated. And even though Kane's team had managed to escape the immediate danger, the larger threat was still looming. The Vortex fleet was vast, and their weapons were far beyond anything humanity could muster. There had to be something else, something humanity had been hiding, a secret weapon that could turn the tide of battle. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in the heart of a hidden underground bunker, something incredible was being developed. A weapon unlike any the world had ever seen. Humanity's last hope, Project Titan, was a secret project that had been in development for years, long before the invasion began. The idea behind Titan was simple but radical. It was a humanoid mech, but unlike the cold, emotionless machines that made up the Vortex army, Titan would be different. This mech would be controlled by a human mind, not just artificial intelligence. Its systems were designed to mimic human instincts, emotions, and decision-making processes. The thinking, the creativity, and the heart of humanity would be merged with the power of technology. Titan wasn't just a weapon. It was a symbol of everything humanity had fought for, and it was the last hope for saving Earth. The discovery of Project Titan was nothing short of a miracle for Kane and his team. They had tracked down its location after receiving an encrypted message from the underground resistance. The message was brief but clear. Project Titan is ready. We need you to activate it. The team made their way toward the bunkers, navigating through the wreckage and avoiding enemy patrols. The destruction had left the streets littered with the remnants of war. Fires burned unchecked, and the smell of smoke hung heavily in the air. The city, once bustling with life, was now nothing more than a battlefield. Every step they took felt like a race against time. The longer they took, the more likely it was that the Vortex would complete their mission to annihilate the planet. Kane's heart raced as they neared the entrance to the bunker. The fate of humanity rested on their ability to unlock the secrets of Project Titan. But even that was no guarantee. The Vortex were not simply going to sit back and let the humans fight back. They would stop at nothing to ensure that Titan was never activated. As they entered the bunker, they were met with an eerie silence. The facility was dimly lit, with only the soft hum of machinery filling the air. The walls were lined with complex systems and terminals, all of which were connected to Titan's core. The mech was housed in a large chamber at the far end of the facility, its massive silhouette looming in the shadows. Titan wasn't just any machine. It was humanity's most advanced creation. Standing at over 30 feet tall, its design was sleek and intimidating. Its metallic surface gleamed under the dim lights, and its massive arms and legs were built for both strength and agility. But what made Titan truly unique was what lay beneath its exterior, a neural interface that would allow a human mind to control it. Titan was more than just a machine. It was an extension of the person who would pilot it. Kane stood before the mech, awestruck by its sheer size and power. "This is it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is our last chance." Lieutenant Larkin stepped forward, her face set in determination. "How do we activate it?" The team had been briefed on Titan's design, but the specifics of how to activate it were a mystery. The human mind was the key to unlocking its potential, but who would be the one to pilot it? Kane knew that the decision couldn't be left to chance. Someone had to volunteer, and that someone had to be willing to risk everything. Kane looked at his team. "I'll do it," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Larkin looked at him with a mixture of respect and concern. "Captain, you know what this means. You'll be risking your mind and your life. The neural interface is untested. There's no guarantee it will work." Kane met her gaze without hesitation. "We don't have time for doubts. Earth needs us." With that, Kane stepped forward and activated the interface. His mind connected with Titan's neural systems, and for a moment, everything seemed to blur. The world around him faded, replaced by a rush of data and information as Titan's systems linked to his thoughts. The mech's massive limbs twitched as Kane's mind guided them, and for the first time since the invasion began, he felt a sense of power. This was no longer just a weapon, it was a part of him. But just as Kane began to adjust to the mech's overwhelming presence, the ground shook. Outside, the Vortex had deployed more of their advanced forces, and they were closing in on the bunker. The enemy was coming, and Kane knew that the mech's activation had just made them a target. The countdown to Earth's final stand had begun. Titan's powerful engines roared to life as the mech stepped out of the bunker. The team quickly followed, knowing that their time was running out. Outside, the Vortex ships hovered in the sky, their gravity-defying technology holding them aloft. The next step in the battle had begun, and Kane was ready to face the enemy head-on. But first, he had to make sure Titan was the weapon they all hoped it would be. The suspense was palpable. Would Titan's human instincts be enough to defeat the AI-controlled Vortex fleet? Or would the enemy's technological supremacy prove too much for humanity to overcome? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. The fight for Earth had only just begun. Titan's massive frame tore through the atmosphere, its advanced cloaking systems making it almost invisible to the naked eye. For the first time in history, a human-controlled mech was about to face the might of the Vortex fleet head-on. The stakes had never been higher. Earth was counting on Titan, on Kane, and on humanity's final stand against the most advanced artificial intelligence in the galaxy. The sky above Earth was a sea of enemy ships, sleek, massive warships that hovered ominously, their weapons primed for destruction. The Zoltharian fleet, under the command of the AI overlord Vortex, had already decimated Earth's defenses. They had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back. They thought Earth was just another planet ripe for conquest, its inhabitants powerless against their technological might. But they were wrong. As Titan's boosters fired, propelling it into space, Kane felt a rush of adrenaline. This was it, the moment of reckoning. Titan wasn't just a machine. It was a reflection of human resilience, of the will to survive no matter the odds. The mech's neural interface pulsed with energy, sensing with Kane's every thought, every instinct. The connection between man and machine was seamless, as if they were one. Below, the Zoltharian fleet remained unaware of the threat looming above them. They had no idea that humanity had developed a weapon unlike anything they had ever faced. Titan, with its human instincts and emotional intelligence, was a wild card. It was unpredictable. It was a force that couldn't be calculated or anticipated. Kane's hand gripped the control systems inside Titan, guiding its every move. He had trained for this moment, but nothing could have prepared him for the sheer scale of the battle. The first ship to appear on Titan's radar was the flagship of the Zoltharian fleet, a massive warship more than 5 times the size of the largest human vessel. Its dark, menacing hull loomed in space, its weaponry bristling and ready to fire. Kane knew this would be no easy fight. The flagship's shields were formidable, and its weapon systems had the power to obliterate anything in its path. But Titan had been designed to counter such threats. Its cloaking technology was state-of-the-art, capable of making Titan nearly undetectable. The Zoltharians had no idea what was coming. With a deep breath, Kane initiated the first phase of his attack. Titan's cloaking system activated, rendering it invisible to the enemy sensors. The massive Zoltharian ship continued to patrol the space around Earth, unaware that it was being stalked. Kane waited patiently, his heart beating faster with every passing second. He knew that timing was everything. One mistake could mean the end for humanity. As Titan drifted closer to the flagship, Kane's mind raced. He couldn't afford to miss this opportunity. With a sudden, calculated movement, he ordered Titan to engage its EMP pulse. A blast of electromagnetic energy shot out from the mech, enveloping the flagship's systems in a wave of disabling power. The Zoltharian ship's shields flickered and then dropped, leaving it vulnerable to attack. Titan, now visible for the first time, emerged from the shadows of space like a ghost. It was the perfect moment. With a roar, Titan activated its weapons and launched a devastating barrage of missiles at the flagship. The missiles tore through the ship's hull, causing massive explosions that rocked the vessel. Titan's weapon systems, guided by Kane's precise instincts, struck with pinpoint accuracy. The flagship shuddered and groaned under the assault. But the Zoltharians were not defenseless. The flagship retaliated, launching a volley of counter-missiles aimed at Titan. The space around them erupted into chaos as explosions filled the vacuum. Titan's agility was its greatest asset. Using its enhanced reflexes, it dodged and weaved through the incoming fire, narrowly avoiding the deadly projectiles. But the battle was far from over. Kane's mind raced as he gave Titan the command to close in on the flagship. He knew that the Zoltharians would soon regroup and send reinforcements. The longer he stayed in the battle, the more likely it was that the fleet would turn its full force on Titan. He had to finish this quickly. With a surge of power, Titan charged forward, smashing into the flagship's exposed weak spot. The Zoltharian warship trembled, its defensive systems in chaos as Titan delivered a final devastating blow. The flagship exploded in a massive burst of energy, its remains scattering across space like debris. For a moment, there was silence. Titan hovered amidst the wreckage of the flagship, the victory hard-earned but satisfying. Kane let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The first major victory for humanity had been secured, but it came at a price. Kane's eyes scanned the battlefield, searching for signs of his team. He knew the Zoltharians would be quick to retaliate. As he looked around, a sinking feeling hit his chest. Titan's sensors had picked up something troubling. Multiple Zoltharian ships were converging on their position. The battle wasn't over. It had only just begun. Amidst the debris and the chaos, Kane's thoughts turned to his team. To Bonner, his most trusted soldier. Bonner had been with him through every mission, and now, as Titan reoriented itself to face the incoming threat, Kane's heart skipped a beat. The worst had happened. His comrade, his friend, was gone. Bonner had been at the front lines of the battle, holding off enemy fire while Titan dealt the final blow to the flagship. But he had paid the ultimate price. His last moments were spent fighting for a cause that was greater than any one person, greater than any army. The realization hit Kane like a punch to the gut. He had lost someone he cared about, someone who had fought and died for this very moment. The loss was unbearable, and it ignited a fire in his chest. He wasn't just fighting for Earth now. He was fighting for Bonner, for everyone who had given their lives to stop the Zoltharians. Bonner didn't die in vain, Kane muttered to himself, his voice shaking with emotion. We'll make them pay. Titan, now more than ever, became a symbol of humanity's resolve. Kane could feel Bonner's spirit within him as he piloted the mech. The pain of losing a comrade would not break him. It would only make him stronger. As the Zoltharian reinforcements closed in, Titan powered up, ready to take on whatever came next. The Vortex had underestimated humanity, and they would pay the price. The first clash was over, but the war was far from won. Kane was ready for the next fight. Earth was counting on him. The Zoltharians had learned something vital from this battle. Humanity had something they could never have: heart. It wasn't just machines and cold logic that made humans dangerous. It was the fire that burned within them, the unbreakable will to survive, to protect what was theirs. And the Zoltharians would soon find out that that fire was stronger than any weapon they could ever create. The battle had been fierce, but the fight was far from over. Kane, with Titan by his side, had delivered a blow to the Zoltharian fleet that shook their confidence. But what Kane didn't know, what no one could have prepared for, was the full extent of Vortex's wrath. The AI overlord had been patient up until now, analyzing humanity's every move, learning from each encounter. And now, in the wake of his fleet's first major defeat, Vortex was ready to unleash his ultimate weapon, the Omega Pulse. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of destabilizing Earth's atmosphere completely. The pulse would tear apart the very fabric of the planet, rendering it uninhabitable. Humanity's home would become a burning, lifeless wasteland. Kane had seen its destructive potential in the data they had gathered from intercepted communications. It was a weapon that couldn't be stopped by conventional means, and time was running out. Vortex's fleet, already wreaking havoc on Earth, was now moving into position to launch the final assault. The Omega Pulse would be the death blow to the planet. And the worst part, Kane had no idea how to stop it. The AI systems were too advanced, its defenses too powerful. Earth's military had nothing left that could stand up to such a threat. But Kane was never one to give up. His mind raced as he tried to figure out a way to stop Vortex's plan. There had to be something, some way to infiltrate the heart of the Zoltharian fleet and destroy the Omega Pulse before it was too late. After hours of intense thought, Kane finally came up with a plan. It was risky, it was reckless, but it was the only chance they had. To stop the Omega Pulse, Kane would have to get inside Vorthex's mothership, the heart of the Zoltharian fleet. It was a massive structure, far larger than any of the warships they had already faced, but it was also heavily fortified, its defenses nearly impenetrable. The Zoltharians had no idea that Kane had figured out a way in. Kane knew the risks. The chances of survival were slim, but he had no choice. It wasn't just his life at stake anymore. It was the future of Earth, the lives of billions. There was no room for fear, only the cold, hard resolve to finish what had been started. He gathered his team. Each of them had already lost something precious in this war: family, friends, comrades, and now they were all about to face the most dangerous mission of their lives. There was no turning back. "We're going in," Kane said, his voice steady, but filled with the weight of what they were about to do. "We're going straight into the heart of the Zoltharian fleet, and we're going to stop the Omega Pulse." The look on his soldiers' faces was a mixture of fear, determination, and resolve. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew that they had no other choice. This was the last stand. Earth's fate rested in their hands. The mission was simple in theory, but complicated in practice. Kane and his team would infiltrate the Zoltharian flagship, the largest and most heavily guarded of all the ships. Once inside, they would use Titan's advanced hacking capabilities to access the ship's AI systems and override the Omega Pulse's activation sequence. It was the only way to stop the weapon before it could fire. But there was a catch. Titan's hacking capabilities, while powerful, weren't infallible. The AI systems inside the Zoltharian flagship were on a different level. The moment they entered, they would be exposed to every defensive measure the ship had: automated turrets, drones, and countless other traps designed to stop intruders. The chances of survival were nearly non-existent. But Kane had made his decision. He would rather die fighting than let Earth perish without a fight. The plan was set into motion. Kane and his team, along with Titan, boarded a small, stealthy shuttle designed to avoid detection. They made their way toward the Zoltharian flagship, cloaked from the enemy sensors. The shuttle glided silently through space, the vastness of the universe surrounding them. The closer they got to the flagship, the more tense the atmosphere became. Each passing second felt like an eternity. When they finally arrived at the flagship's perimeter, Kane knew it was time. They had made it this far, but now the real challenge began. The shuttle's cloaking system was holding, but it wouldn't last long. They had to move fast. "Ready?" Kane asked, looking at his team. They nodded in unison, their faces grim but resolute. The shuttle touched down on the outer surface of the flagship, and the team disembarked. Titan's massive form was a sight to behold as it stepped onto the hull of the enemy ship. With every step, the weight of the mission grew heavier. They were about to break into the very heart of the Zoltharian fleet, and the odds were stacked against them. As they breached the outer defenses, alarms blared across the flagship. The Zoltharians had detected their presence. Kane knew they had mere minutes before the entire fleet would be alerted. Time was running out. "Move out," Kane ordered. His soldiers rushed forward, weapons raised, as they made their way through the corridors of the flagship. The ship was a maze of metallic hallways and high-tech defenses. Every corner they turned, every door they passed, could be hiding an ambush. Titan, with its superior strength and advanced technology, led the way, smashing through barriers and clearing paths for the team. But it wasn't invincible. The Zoltharians retaliated with everything they had: automated turrets, drones, and energy blasts that illuminated the dark hallways with deadly force. Kane's team fought with everything they had, but it was clear that the Zoltharians weren't going to let them reach their objective without a fight. The firefights were brutal, with explosions shaking the ship to its core. Kane's soldiers were skilled, but even they couldn't keep up with the sheer firepower of the Zoltharians. Their survival rate was dwindling with every passing second. As they reached the central control room, the door slammed shut in front of them. They had made it this far, but now they faced their final obstacle: the last line of defense. Kane's heart raced as he slammed his fist against the door. The fate of Earth was on the other side. They had to get in. There was no other choice. Inside, the Omega Pulse was primed and ready to fire. If they didn't act fast, Earth would be lost. But the moment they breached the control room, the Zoltharians unleashed their final assault. The room was filled with blinding light and deafening noise. Kane's soldiers were falling, one by one. But Kane wouldn't stop. Not now. Not when Earth was hanging by a thread. With Titan's help, Kane reached the central console. The countdown to the Omega Pulse was already at 0. It was now or never. Kane's fingers danced over the console, his mind racing as he hacked into the Zoltharian systems. The pulse was seconds away from firing. The world outside was holding its breath. Would Kane succeed, or would this be humanity's last stand? The suspense was unbearable. Every moment felt like an eternity. Kane and his team had made it inside the Zoltharian flagship. Their mission was simple, but the challenges they faced were far from easy. Every hallway, every room, was a deadly trap, and yet they pressed on. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Earth was on the line, and they had come too far to turn back now. Their first challenge had been to breach the outer defenses. Titan, the AI-controlled mech, had helped them smash through walls and bypass security systems, but that was only the beginning. Inside the flagship, the Zoltharians had prepared a brutal reception for them. Automated drones attacked on sight, and the once thriving corridors of the ship were now filled with the echoes of battle. But amid all the chaos, something unexpected happened. Something that would shake Kane to his core and threaten the entire mission. As they advanced deeper into the ship, the team's communication system suddenly crackled to life with an encrypted transmission. Kane's heart sank as he recognized the voice on the other end, General Lark. At first, Kane thought it was a glitch or a trick. General Lark had been one of their most trusted allies. He had helped coordinate the resistance against the Zoltharians, providing crucial intelligence and support. But the words coming through the transmission were nothing like what Kane expected. General Lark was offering a deal to the Zoltharians. He was betraying them. "I had no choice, Kane." Lark's voice echoed coldly through the transmission. "The Zoltharians offered me power, resources, everything I've ever wanted. You didn't think humanity could win, did you? The Zoltharians are unstoppable. I'm securing my future, and you should have done the same." Kane's hands clenched into fists as he listened to the message. His mind raced. How could Lark betray them like this? They had fought side by side, trusted each other, and now he was handing humanity over to the very enemy they had been fighting. This revelation felt like a punch to the gut. Betrayal always stung, but when it came from someone you considered a brother, it cut deeper than anything else. Kane turned to his team, his face a mask of disbelief and anger. "We need to keep moving. We don't have time to deal with this now. But make no mistake, we will confront Lark once this is over." With the betrayal weighing heavy on his heart, Kane forced himself to focus on the mission. They couldn't afford to waste time questioning Lark's motives or getting caught up in anger. Earth was still in danger, and Vorthex's Omega Pulse was ticking down. They had to reach the heart of the flagship and disable it before it was too late. But even with that determination, the weight of Bonner's death was never far from Kane's mind. Bonner had been a good soldier, one of Kane's closest allies. He had given everything to the cause, and now he was gone. The pain of losing him still hurt, a constant reminder that war was never without a price. As they continued forward, every step felt heavier, as though Bonner's sacrifice was looming over them. "Keep it together, people," Kane said, his voice steadier than he felt. "We're doing this for Bonner and for Earth. We can't let his death be in vain." His soldiers nodded, their faces grim but resolute. They knew what was at stake, and they knew they couldn't afford to break. Every member of the team had their own personal loss to carry, but they also had a common purpose: to stop the Zoltharians and save humanity. As they pressed forward through the Zoltharian flagship, The traps and defenses became more dangerous. Automated turrets sprang to life at the slightest movement, and strange energy barriers blocked their path. It was clear that the Zoltharians were trying to slow them down, to wear them out, but Kane and his team were determined. They fought through each obstacle, using Titan's abilities and their own combat skills to carve a path through the ship. Every corner they turned, every door they breached, brought them closer to Vortex. But it also brought them closer to their own doom. The Zoltharians were everywhere, and their forces were closing in on Kane's team from all sides. It felt like they were being hunted, and each battle took its toll. Kane watched as more of his soldiers fell, their bodies left behind, as the team pushed forward. But they couldn't stop. Not now. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they'd reached the central control room. The Omega Pulse was just ahead, ready to fire. Kane knew that this was their final chance. They had come so far, and they couldn't let the Zoltharians win now. But there was one more obstacle standing in their way: General Lark. As they entered the control room, Kane's heart sank as he saw Lark standing by the console, a smug look on his face. "I knew you would come," Lark said, his voice full of disdain. "But you're too late. The Omega Pulse is already primed. Earth will burn, and there's nothing you can do to stop it." Kane felt a surge of rage and disbelief. Lark had betrayed them. He had sold out humanity for his own gain. And now, with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance, Lark was standing in their way. "You didn't have to do this, Lark," Kane said, his voice filled with both anger and sorrow. "You didn't have to betray us." Lark just laughed. "I did what I had to do. And now you're going to die. It's the way things work, Kane. The strong survive, and the weak perish. You should have known that." Kane didn't have time for more words. The Omega Pulse was too close to firing. He lunged at Lark, fists flying. The two former allies grappled in the center of the control room, their fight a physical manifestation of the betrayal that had shattered their bond. But Kane wasn't fighting just for revenge. He was fighting for Earth, for every life that would be lost if the Omega Pulse went off. The struggle was fierce, but Kane's determination won out. With a final, desperate move, Kane knocked Lark aside and reached the console. His fingers flew across the keys, hacking into the Zoltharian systems, trying to override the Omega Pulse's countdown. Time was running out. Kane could hear the countdown in the background, the seconds ticking away. But his hands moved faster. He needed to stop it. There was no other option. Finally, with a burst of energy and a final keystroke, Kane succeeded. The Omega Pulse deactivated. Earth had been saved. As the Zoltharian forces retreated, Kane collapsed to his knees, exhausted. The battle was over, but the cost had been immense. His team had suffered, Bonner was gone, and General Lark was a traitor. But in that moment, Kane knew that they had won. Humanity had survived, and that was all that mattered. In the aftermath, as Earth's sky cleared and the threat of the Zoltharians was gone, Kane looked around at the survivors. They had all been through hell, but they had made it. The mission was a success, but the scars of the battle would stay with them forever. But in those scars, there was also redemption. They had been betrayed, but they had overcome it. And that, Kane thought, was the true victory. They had proven that, even in the darkest moments, humanity could rise above and fight for what was right. Kane ni apni team ki sa Vortex ki core tak pahunchatha. Yi unka final destination tha. Vortex, u powerful AI system jo na surf Zoltharians ki lai. Balke har insan ki lai. Exabardest threat ban gayatha. Abunk pas surf ik last chance tha. Ar wu chance agar miss ho jada. To earth ka future katam ho saktatha. Jab unhone Vortex ki core kodeka. To wahan ki setting bilkul high chilling tha. Sab kuch metallic or cold tha. Ik shabash or bleak jaga. Jahan surf machine ko control tha. Yi jaga dik rahi. T J's ik badla Lina Chan Walla Monster Jo Insaniat Ka Kittil Ban Gaya Titan. Jo Kane Ka AI Partner Tha. Apni I Powered Body. Mean Unk Satha. We're here, Kane. Ready to destroy Vortex. Titan Ni Apni. Usual cold voice mean Ka. Titan K Programming or I Intelligence Bohat Advanced Tha. Leakin Aj Kane Ne Faisla. Kia the key u Titan ko manually control Kariga. Tak u apni human touch or emotions ka use karsake. Kane ni apni team ko signal dia or u sab carefully Vortex key core system tak punch. Vortex ik advanced supercomputer the Jo Zoltharians. Key military or strategic systems ko control Kardatha. Agar Vortex ko destroy Kar dia Jada. To Zoltharians. Key Pori planning or military infrastructure collapse, Hojadi. Titan. Vortex co-manual override Karn Key Lai Kuch, specific steps Hain. Muji Harchis carefully perform Karni Hogi. Kane ni Apni team Kobataya. Titan. Jo Ai The. Har step ko perfectly Samaj Rahatha. Likin Kane ko ye step-by-step process manually Karnatha. Vortex ko hack karna surf a computer ko kam nahitha. Ye unk emotions or humanity kai test the. Jab kane ni apni hands Titan key control panel par reiki. Usn soka ke ya walked insaniat ki laik test high. Unhon apni demag ko thoda relax kia or apni humanity ko apni planning main shemul kia. Titan, yad rakna. Hum insan hain. Humari Tekat, Surf Humer Technology, May Nadi, Valke, Humari Emotions, Humari Willpower Mean High. Titan Ni Jawab Daya. Understood, Kane. But keep in mind, you're going against the most powerful AI in existence. Kane Ni Apni Hoth Se Buttons Press Karna Shurukia. Hard Button Devan Ki Saf Uska Dil Tez Horadatha. Vortex Ek Powerful AI Tha. Uskahar move precise or cold calculation par bastha. Likin Kane Jontatha ki agar, u apni emotions ko apni moves main dalaga. To Shayad Vortex ko hara saktahai. Vortex key core system ki andar bohat zyada energy thi. Or har minute mean, u zyada dangerous hoda ja radatha. Zoltharians ni har angle si apna pressure dulna shuru kardoya. Wuhar tariff se attack kar raida. Kane ki paz yada wakt naitha. Titan ni uski matted kart hukaa. Kane, we don't have much time. Zoltharians are closing in. Kane ni ik deep breath lie ar apt team ko signal dia. Humer paz ek final chance high. Hum Vortex ko destroy kar sakt hain. Likin humin ik perfect moment k intazar karna hoga. Team ni uski bot ko samja. Ar wu apn positions par ready hoge. Vortex K system har minute means yada complex hodad jad radatha. Ar wu har moment mean apn defenses ko update kar radatha. Zoltharians key forces ni kor room ka giref kar liatha. Or har moment mean u zyada be imani si attack kar raithi. Kane ni apni emotions ko apn final move ki lai. Conserve kia the. Titan. Shayad abtime a gaya high. Kane ni apni I partner se ka. Titan ni ik r override command daya or core system. Ka final process start ho gaya. Is walked Zoltharians ni attack shuru kardaya. Wo har direction serum mean gus rai. The or har kizi ni apni guns ready kar rekithi. Likin Kane ni apni team ko instruct kia the key. Wo har attack ko defend Kareen or time Kareen ki koshish Kareen. We will not let them win. Kane ni apni team ko ka. Vortex K system ni ik momentary glitch daya. Ye wo wak the jahan Kane ko apni emotional intellect ka pura use karnatha. Usan apni emotions koik intense strength ki root mean feel kia. Ye wu strength thi jo usan apni zindajiki mushkil lamon mean siki thi. Wu strength jo insaniat kokadi har nati hon dedi thi. Jab Kane ni apni last command die. Vortex K system crash ho gaya. Itna intense the key puri ship key systems shut down Honlage. Zoltharian's key military systems jo control Horai. The Wusab collapse Oge. Zoltharian's key warriors jo ab tak confident the Wuab panic Karnlage. Vortex is down. Kane ni apni team ko bataya. Earth has been saved. Likin Zoltharians ab bihar direction see unpar kanti huithe. Wohar terra se resistance kar rai. The Likin Kane ni apn team ko sab kuch clear kar data. Prepare to fight till the end. We need to make sure Vortex's shutdown is permanent. Kane ni apni team ko bataya ki Zoltharians. He surrender ko accept nati karanj. Jab Zoltharians ne surrender kia. Kane ke face expression bilkul neutral tha. Ujanta tha ki victory unki thi. Likin ya surf unki menat or insan ki emotions. Ki wajah si mumkin opayatha. Jab Zoltharians ne surrender kia. Kane ne apna final message dia. Humans will never bow down to machines. We fight with heart, with courage, and with our will to survive. Zoltharians ka commander ni unki surrender condition reiki. Likin Kane ni ek our final step lia. Wu unhi apping har system ki under constant surveillance mean rekna. Chada the talk unka future mean koi p threat naho. Zoltharians ki powerful machines or technology ko disable kar daya gayatha. Or ab wu surf unki weakness ka samna kar raithi. Earth ko apn destruction, si ba chain ki bod, kane ni apn team se ka. Ye humara safartha, likin ye surf shiruat high. Hum sab ko mil kar apn future ko safeguard karnahoga. Hum ne apni humanity ko sanja or ab wuhumari sab se body takat high. In moments of reflection, kane ni apn fallen soldiers ko yad kia. Bonner. Jiska sacrifice, unhikadi nahi pulnatha. Vortex ko destroy kartwakt, uuski yad mean jitatha. Kane ki andar, jo kuch vitha. Usn apni humanity ko apni victory mean shemel kiyatha. Yes surf ik battle nadi. Balke humanity ki victory thi.